folks, today we're going to make Boston brown bread. Now, I made it from my daddy and he just loved it. And here's the recipe that I used. And I've been using this for a long time. We're going to use 1/2 cup heaping all-purpose flour. We're going to use 1/2 cup heaping rye flour. We're going to use 1/2 cup heaping finely ground cornmeal. We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon baking powder. We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon allspice, 1/2 cup molasses, 1 cup buttermilk, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. And I have all of that right here. Now I'll show you the next thing you need. Now this bread is going to be steamed or boiled, whatever you want to call it. You can use these vegetable cans like I have here, or you can use this bigger vegetable can like I have here, or you can use a coffee can. Now, if you don't have something like that, you can use a canning jar, but you do not want to use one like this that has the ridge on the side. What you want to use is a canning jar that has straight sides. I have used canning jars before. I've made this many times. That's the recipe I normally use. I made some for my daddy a long time ago. He loved it. My daddy was a Yankee. So, if you don't have canning jars and you don't have cans, you can also use a baking, like a cake pan that you put in a pan and do the same concept, but instead of using a can, you'll use a baking pan. And here's what else you'll need. You will need a pot to boil this in. Now, the pot has to be deep enough to cover your cans by 2/3. Okay? So whatever can you're using, it has to cover the can by 2/3. So obviously this pot is really not big enough for this can. If I don't fill this can up, this pot will be fine for this can. And really, if I don't fill it up, this pot will be okay for this can. And it has to have a cover. So now let's go on to the next thing. You will need tin foil to cover your cans, and string or rubber bands to hold that tin foil on tight. So now I'm going to show you what I add to mine that is traditional and not traditional. Now traditionally, and most people will put in raisins. I don't have raisins. I usually don't keep raisins, but I am using cran raisins, and I don't keep raisins because of my dogs, so I'm going to add cran raisins. And I don't know, this is a 1/3 cup, so I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup. Now, also, which is common, not traditional but common, is to add nuts. I'm going to add pecan halves on top, and I will show you that. Some people add nuts, some people don't. It's just a matter of taste. So, let's get with it. Here's all my dry ingredients, and we're going to mix this up. Now, I'm just using this container because I can. It's like Mount Everest. It was there. So let me get this all mixed up really good, and we'll go to the next step. Now we're going to add, I got this real good mixed up. Now we are going to add our buttermilk and our molasses, which is right here, and I've just got the molasses mixed into the buttermilk. I don't know, because I can. So let's pour that in there. And I'll get this mixed up real good, and we'll hit the next step. Okay, I've got this all mixed really good. Now, if I was going to add, or if you were going to add raisins, here's where you would add them. Now, the reason I added it this step, instead of mixing it with the dry, is because I found that sometimes those little nooks and crannies that you have on your raisins, sometimes the flour gets stuck in there, and for some reason you end up with a raisin that can have a little bit of a powdery flour residue. So here is where, when I'm putting nuts or I'm putting whatever I'm putting in the bread, let me get the last bit out of that cup. Here is where I put it in, and I'll stir this up real good. A little side note here, the recipe calls for heaping. To me, that is heaping. Okay? So just wanted to make that clear. Warning, warning. If your can has this little nick, see how I've got that little nick right there from where I took off the lid? Be sure you take a pair of pliers and you flatten that nick so you don't hurt yourself on it. So I'm going to flatten that nick right there. I didn't get it on this one. Okay? I have generously buttered the inside of the 3 cans that I'm going to use. Real good. I don't know if you can see it, but there's lots of butter down in there. So now I'm going to put the batter in my cans. Okay, y'all, here's my cans full. I'm just using 2 cans this time. I never save my cans from one time to another, so I never really know how many cans I'm going to need. I'm just using 2 cans, and these are the regular vegetables. Vegetables come in here. So now I'm going to put my nuts on top. Okay, there's my cans. I put my pecans on top. Next comes my tin foil, and it's a good idea, y'all, to spray your tin foil. Okay, y'all, here's the cans covered with tin foil, and I have rubber bands. You don't have to use rubber bands. You can use string or yarn or twine, whatever. Now they're ready to go in my pot. I have as you can see, I've got very hot water there. Now, in the bottom of your pot, you want something to keep the cans off the bottom. I happen to use, got too close there, let's clear up. I happen to use these canning lids. So now I'm going to put my cans in the water. Now the water is supposed to come 2/3 up the side of the can. Well, 2/3 up the side of the can is about where that tin foil is. And this water is not deep enough, so I'm going to add some more water. Okay, I've added some more water till it comes up to 2/3 the side of the can. So now, see my new light? Try to get some light on the situation here, folks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover this pot. We're going to bring it back to a rolling boil. So we'll be back. Okay, y'all, we have a rolling boil. See there? So now we're going to put the lid back on, and we're going to turn this down low, 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 and slow, slow, slow. So we're going to turn this down as low as we can get it without that fire going out. There. Now, we're going to watch this. It is going to simmer for 2 hours. Yes, folks, 2 hours. Now, I've got my extra can here, and I'm going to check it from time to time, and I may have to add some more water to it. But now it's going to go on that low, low, low for 2 hours, and we'll be back. Okay, y'all, these have been on the back for 2 hours, and One just flipped over just now when I moved the pot. So I'm going to take them out of the water. Okay, I need to test them just like a regular cake. So let me get this open. Oh, y'all, that looks good. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Don't that look good? Toothpick clean. That one's done. Oh, my goodness. Toothpick clean. That one's done. Okay, I'm going to wait just a... I maybe should have used 3 cans, even though I didn't think it was going to rise this much. I'm going to wait about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to take these out of the can. Because they're really too hot for me to handle right now. But, oh my, y'all, looking good. Ooh, look, y'all. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is steam coming off them babies. Boy, howdy, let me tell you. They came out of the can pretty easy, so I'm going to turn them over. Oh, yeah, look at there. Look, aren't those nice? My goodness. Got me some good Yankee bread there. Boston brown bread. So now I'm going to let them cool off just a little bit. And we're going to come back and me and Ernie's going to do our official taste test. Okay, y'all. Sorry about this, but we're having to do our taste test over. It was a big goof, but here we go. I've got 2 slices sliced off for me and Ernie. And Ernie's going to do his official taste test on that piece, and I'm going to do... This is a do-over, y'all. Oh, y'all, this is so good. So what do you think, Ernie? It is. Now, gosh, this is good, y'all. How do you eat this? Well, traditionally, this is sliced and served with baked beans. Maybe some baked beans and weenies, some beanie weenies, I guess you could say. Sometimes it's buttered and fried. Sometimes it's just eaten cold. So what we're going to do is I'm going to slather some margarine on Ernie's. Ernie likes margarine, and I'm going to go ahead and use some margarine too. Now, go ahead and try it with the margarine, Ernie, and see if you like it better with the margarine. Here, let me have my bite. Oh, y'all, this is so good. So what do you think, Ernie? Good. Good? I think so, too. So, y'all, try you some Boston brown bread, some Yankee bread, some boiled bread, steamed bread, whatever you want to call it. Try it, because it really is good. Gosh, it's good stuff. Now, you can boil it the way I did. Oh, go ahead, take your piece, Ernie. You can boil it, steam it the way I did, or you can bake it in the oven. That's up to you. I've been using this particular recipe, y'all. Whenever I get a recipe I like this, I print it out and I keep them. I've had this recipe here for, gosh, 15 years. The first time I ever made it, I ate a whole can all by myself. Gosh, I was so in love with it. I gave Charlotte one piece. Then I took the other can over to my daddy, and I told him, I said, taste this. I made me some Boston brown bread. And my daddy loved it. And my mom was an exceptional cook. And she was, believe me, my family, you can tell by the way my family looks, my mama was a good cook. But there were some things my mama didn't make, and this was one of them, and my daddy loved it. So I'd make it for him. So thanks for watching, y'all. And give me a thumbs up on this video if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye! Y'all, I need to I'm inserting this before the end. I need to tell you a little bit more about Boston brown bread. It gets a bad rap, they sell this stuff in the can. It's in a red can, and it's on the shelves, usually around the specialty flours and bread mixes that you can buy. But now, y'all, let me tell you what to expect from brown bread. It is called brown bread, but is it a bread? No, it's more like a cake. It's more like a cake. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's more like a cake. See? But y'all, don't be afraid to try it. It's really good. And like I said, I'm adding this little thing in here before the ending because I don't want you to be thinking that this is going to be a light, fluffy rye bread you can use for a sandwich. That's not what this is for. This is more of a dessert bread. This is not sweet, but it would, and they eat it with beanie weenies, but it's not a bread like a sandwich bread. It is more of a bread like a quick loaf, but quick is not what it is when it takes 2 hours to steam. So just be warned before you make it. Now, here comes the ending.